Oyster Bay, Long Island, August 1906. A woman's hands split a peach over a porcelain bowl. The juice runs between her fingers. She has not washed them. Not because she is careless, but because no one has told her there is a reason to. She folds the fruit into fresh cream and carries the bowl to the icebox. Her name is Mary Mallon. She is 36, Irish-born, and has been hired this summer by the Warren family. She has cooked for 8 wealthy families across New York in the past decade. 7 were struck by typhoid fever after she arrived. She does not know this. The bacteria living in her gallbladder are in the cream, on the peach, under her fingernails. She has never had a single symptom. 6 people in this house will be ill within 3 weeks. Mary Mallon will serve them soup while they recover. This is her case file. In 1906, typhoid fever kills approximately 10% of those infected. It spreads through water and food contaminated by the feces of a carrier. New York City records between 3,000 and 4,000 cases every year, mostly among the poor, in tenements with shared latrines and contaminated wells. The Warren household is not poor. Oyster Bay is the summer retreat of New York's elite. Theodore Roosevelt's residence, Sagamore Hill, is nearby. Typhoid does not belong here. When the outbreak subsides, the property owner hires George Soper, a sanitary engineer with a reputation for tracing epidemics. Soper tests the plumbing. He checks the well water. He examines the local shellfish. He tests the milk supply. Everything comes back clean. Then he turns his attention to the household staff. He learns that a new cook arrived on the 4th of August, 3 weeks before the first case. He traces her employment history through the agency that placed her. She has worked for 8 families. 7 of them experienced typhoid outbreaks after she arrived. Mary Mallon is no longer at Oyster Bay by the time Soper connects the pattern. She has moved to a new position, cooking for another wealthy family on Park Avenue. In March 1907, Soper walks into her kitchen unannounced. He tells her she is spreading typhoid through her cooking. He asks her for samples of her faeces, urine, and blood. Mary Mallon does not comply. She picks up a carving fork and advances on him. Soper retreats down the hallway, through the iron gate and out to the street. From Mallon's perspective, the encounter is straightforward. A stranger has appeared in her workplace and accused her of killing people. She has never been sick. She has no symptoms. She feels entirely healthy. The accusation makes no sense. In 1907, the concept of an asymptomatic carrier, a person who harbors and transmits a pathogen without showing symptoms, is new to American medicine. In Germany, Robert Koch has described it 5 years earlier, but across the Atlantic, no one has yet proven it in a living person. Mallon has no framework for understanding what Soper is telling her. Soper does not give up. He contacts the New York City Department of Health. They dispatch Dr. S. Josephine Baker, a 34-year-old physician who will later become one of the most important public health figures in American history, to collect the samples. Baker's first visit ends with a door slammed in her face. On the 20th of March, 1907, Baker returns with 3 police officers. Mallon answers the door, sees the uniforms, and runs. She vanishes inside the building. The servants claim they have not seen her. For 5 hours, Baker and the officers search the property. They find nothing. Then a policeman notices a scrap of blue calico fabric caught in the door of a closet under the exterior stairs of the neighboring house. Mallon is inside, pressed against the wall. She does not come quietly. Baker later wrote in her memoir that restraining Mallon in the ambulance was like being in a cage with an angry lion. Baker sat on her for the duration of the ride to the hospital. At Willard Parker Hospital, Mallon is compelled to provide stool samples. The results confirm what Soper suspected. Her faeces contain massive concentrations of Salmonella typhi, the bacterium that causes typhoid fever, despite the complete absence of symptoms. Mary Mallon is the first person in the United States identified as a healthy carrier of typhoid. She is transferred to a one-room bungalow on North Brother Island, a small island in the East River used to house patients with contagious diseases. She is given no trial. She is charged with no crime. She is told she will remain there until she is no longer a threat. Over the next 2 years, 120 of her 163 stool samples test positive. Doctors suggest removing her gallbladder, the organ where the bacteria are believed to reside. Mallon refuses. The surgery is dangerous, and she does not believe she is ill. In 1909, she writes to her lawyer, "Why should I be banished like a leper and compelled to live in solitary confinement with only a dog as a companion?" She sues the health department. The court sides with the city. The biology is simple. In approximately 3 to 5% of people who recover from typhoid, Salmonella typhi survives in the gallbladder indefinitely. These individuals continue to shed the bacteria in their stool for years, sometimes for life, without experiencing any symptoms. Cooking kills the bacteria. Mallon's hot dishes were not the problem. The problem was her cold preparations. Salads, desserts, anything handled after the stove. The peach ice cream at Oyster Bay was never heated. Her hands, unwashed after using the lavatory, transferred the bacteria directly to the fruit. But the mechanism of Mallon's case is not only biological, it is institutional. In February 1910, a new health commissioner releases Mallon on the condition that she never work as a cook again and report for regular testing. The only alternative offered is work as a laundress, a position paying roughly $20 per month, less than half her earnings as a cook. Mallon tries. She takes laundry work. She falls behind on rent. Within months, she disappears from the department's records. By 1915, she is cooking again under the name Mary Brown. In March of that year, a typhoid outbreak at Sloan Maternity Hospital in Manhattan infects 25 people and kills 2. The investigation leads to the kitchen. The cook is Mary Mallon. She is returned to North Brother Island. This time, she does not resist. The island remained her address for 23 years. The science that put her there moved on without her. What makes this case remarkable is not that the health department acted, but that it acted selectively. By the time of Mallon's death in 1938, city health authorities had identified more than 400 asymptomatic carriers of Salmonella typhi in New York. Not one of them was forcibly confined. Some of them worked in the food industry. Some of them caused more infections. Some of them caused more deaths. Mallon was an unmarried Irish immigrant with no advocate, no money, and no public voice. George Soper, the man who identified her, described her in his published papers as a human culture tube, and noted that she walked and thought more like a man than a woman. On North Brother Island, Mallon was eventually given work in the hospital laboratory, washing bottles and preparing slides. She attended Mass at a chapel on the island. She kept to herself. On Christmas Day, 1932, she suffered a stroke that left her paralyzed. She spent the final 6 years of her life unable to walk, confined to the same island where she had lived since 1915. She died of pneumonia on the 11th of November, 1938. 9 people attended her funeral. Mallon's case changed American public health permanently. It established the principle that a person can be a danger without being sick, a concept that would reshape policy for a century. Screening programs for food handlers followed. Water chlorination and sanitation standards accelerated. The typhoid death rate in the United States dropped from 36 per 100,000 in 1900 to near zero by 1950. No official was ever held accountable for the disparity between Mallon's treatment and that of the 400 carriers who walked free. No inquiry examined whether her gender, her class, or her nationality played a role in the decision to confine her, and no one else. The name Typhoid Mary entered the language as a synonym for someone who spreads harm. Mary Mallon never accepted it. Mary Mallon lived 69 years. She spent 26 of them in quarantine. She was never charged with a crime, never convicted, and never found to be lying. She was found to be carrying something she could not see, could not feel, and was never given the means to understand. One question for the comments. There were 400 carriers, only one was confined. What is the word for that? The next case on this channel involves a mask that was never meant to protect anyone. This is the sealed ward